Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome, everyone. This is USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I'm thrilled to be here for another episode of A Woman's Prerogative. Today, we're in partnership with E360 TV, as we are each and every week for this show. And we are also in partnership with Roku and soon to be other platforms. So we really are growing, and we thank each and every one of you who has been here with us for this journey and for continuing to share information about our platform. We bring hope, inspiration, entertainment, and world-class education. Of course, I'm not here alone for our show, Woman's Prerogative. We have our esteemed and very accomplished panel joining us from around the world. Dr. Madalenecarolchan is not with us today, but we look forward to having her back next week. Let's welcome Caroline HEWARD, the Harley Street stress expert. Hello.
Hello.
Where are you joining us from today, Caroline?
Sorry?
Where are you joining from today?
I'm actually in the north of England, in Doncaster. I used to be in London, and now I'm in Doncaster. It's been a very chilly day today.
Well, it's very warm in your heart. I know that. So thank
Absolutely.
you. Also joining us today is Dr. Justina MUTALE, African Woman of the Year best-selling author. Let's welcome her. Hello.
Hi, Jacalyn. Hi, Madalene. Hi, Caroline, sorry, and everybody else, all the audience, the viewers.
Thank you. You're joining us from London today?
No, I am based in London, but at the moment I'm attending a conference in Poland. So I'm joining you from a beautiful resort in Poland called Mykolaiv.
Oh, how exciting. Well, that's fantastic. I love following you on social media. You are literally all around the world. So thank you for making the time to be with us today. And let's welcome our dear friend joining us from New Zealand. MARISKA is an author and an entrepreneur. Welcome, MARISKA Dupree.
Hello, and it's lovely being with all you ladies. And I love the fact that we are so global for USA Global TV.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. So thank you again for making the time. I really do have so much respect and love for each of you. We've done a number of projects together, and I look forward to the future and seeing what we will come up with, as we are very much about helping other women, lifting up other women, empowering other women. Our topic today is I have been influenced by. And whatever it is that comes to mind, it could be a person, it could be an experience, it could be something that you've seen. Let's start with Dr. MUTALE. What comes up for you when you think about I've been influenced by?
I could say, in Africa, we say it takes a village to raise a child. So I have been influenced by the world, by a lot of events that have been happening in the world, by the way that those in perhaps in leadership have handled some of the most difficult situations and jumped over them and gotten to where we are today. Of course, I'm influenced by the women, the powerful, assertive, strong women from my family's background. They have influenced me a lot to believe that women have the power to shape the world and that women are the guardians of humanity. So I have been influenced by, of course, my father as well, and some of the men from my family as well have influenced me in so many different ways.
Thank you very much. Who would like to comment on what Dr. Justina just shared?
as soon as Justina mentioned about it takes a village to raise a child, that really warmed my heart, because it made me realize, yes, I've heard that many times, and it must be that I've been in a lot of communities where women talk about this, and it's true. And what you've just shared in terms of the different aspects and the different audiences and publics and arenas that a child would be in is justification that's what happens. It's not just one influence, it's many. But I love that phrase.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Mariska, anything you'd like to add?
I love the fact that Dr. Justina didn't only bring up the phrase, she also enriched it with her own experiences. And I think that's the thing, as she mentioned all these different areas of influence, I've been going through my own life and thinking about all the different places that I've been influenced. So Dr. Justina actually sparked a few places for me that I didn't think of when I just heard the question the first time around. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Caroline, would you like to go next? I've been influenced by.
Yes, I'd love to. Thanks, Dr. Jacalyn. I've been influenced by many things, but very recently, in terms of my adult life, I was influenced by a beautiful friend who became he was a mentor, he became a very dear friend, and now he's passed over. He was a Tibetan monk and a lama, and I remember constantly saying to him, I don't know how I've landed up attracting this friendship. And I always used to keep pinching myself, because I used to say to him, what is it that makes us friends? Because I'm not that special. And he used to laugh at me and say, don't question it, just enjoy it. And I used to really feel very humbled by that. And he influenced me in many, many ways, in ways that, you know, I felt very dear to me, because I used to feel that it was just absolutely impossible to be friends with a monk, especially one that walked around in robes, and I was in my normal leggings and boots. And somebody else that really influenced me a lot in my life is Philip Chan. And again, he was very much in my later life, in my later adult life. And these two people actually followed me from my early speaking career when I first started speaking. And it was when I made a decision to make and play my part in creating world peace. And so I know this sounds like it's a bit sort of esoteric and a bit out there, but it was when I decided to not play a small game. And it was because I was influenced by what was going on in the world. And I didn't like what I was seeing. And I was very challenged by what I was seeing in the world. And because I'd actually recovered and sorted out my own anxiety and depression, I felt that it was time to play a bigger game. And when I made that decision to play my part to create world peace, that's when I was given a platform to speak. And so that very internal dialect of deciding to speak my truth made a difference. And it made me into being challenged by other things that I hadn't thought about doing. So there I was speaking on stage for the first time with a clicker, a PowerPoint, and somebody looking after me. And I gathered some incredible people around me that really supported me.
Lovely share. Thank you, Caroline. Thoughts, comments? Yes, please.
Yes. Caroline, the pieces that I really appreciate about your share is all those nuances that when we decide to step into a specific space, we get all these supporting beings, elements, that just reveals itself. And as your mentor mentioned, don't question, just enjoy. I mean, he's there to enjoy, so why not?
Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Justina, anything you'd like to share?
Yes, of course, Caroline's friendship with the monk touches on the bits of imposter syndrome, and where you think that you're not worth being in certain spaces, where we think sometimes that certain spaces are reserved for certain special people. So I love it that he carried you along and brought you with him, and also gave you the reassurance that you do belong with him, that you could be in his path, you could sit at the same table with him, you could have a discussion with him, you can be friends with him, and not to think that he was more special than you are. I love that bit.
Thank you.
I love that too. Thank you. Mariska, you've been influenced by?
I've been influenced by so many things. The thing that's coming up for me at the moment, as the different elements are being brought up by both Dr. Justina and Caroline, is that it's not only the human beings that we physically connect with on our day-to-day journey. It's also in other areas. So for me, being influenced by writers, for instance, so the variety of books that I read, and this might be people that's still on this planet at the moment, or people that has passed over and went on the rest of their journey. I get to read some of their ideas and some of their ways of thinking, and that influence the way that I might start to think about things or interact with things. And I also have a deep appreciation for all those interactions where sometimes we have them and we think, oh, well, it was just a once-off conversation, or it was just this one thing that I said, and not understanding the impact that that one thing might have on somebody. I specifically remember a time during my working career back in South Africa where one of the leaders that I spoke to said something very profound to me that actually took me on a different path. And I don't think they knew that it was that profound when they said it. And yet that influenced the way that I thought about things and looked at life in general. So there's all these different, I almost want to call them golden threads throughout, that continuously ripple and influence the way that I be. And I am forever grateful to be on this planet in this time and being able to do that. And for the three of you and all the other listeners and watchers that we have out there, the influence that also created in my life. So thank you all for being on this journey with me.
I do love that phrase, golden threads. I have not heard that before. Very nice. Caroline, Dr. Justina, what's coming up for you based on what Mariska shared?
Mariska, one of the things that came up for me is when you shared about books, because I've read a lot of books in my time, and I have a huge library of books, and so many that I've still not unpacked them all, because I've got to find spaces for everything. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. And there's been so many books that have influenced me. And so I really get that. And I have a lot of reference type books. And one of the books that really influenced me was The Celestine Prophecy. Have you heard of that book?
No.
Well, it's about a man's discovery where he went to Machu Picchu, and it's his journey of discovering energy and discovering how people interact and the energy around them and behaviors. And it was a 10-day, there were 10 principles, disciplines. But it just brought it up. I was just thinking, oh, the Celestine Prophecy. And I read it such a long time ago. It was probably year 2000. And it was an incredible experience for me because it was about my journey. I started my energy work in 2000. And so immediately I thought about that book. So I don't know what it was. And that golden thread was the fact that it made me, sort of realize that the Celestine prophecy has carried me on my energetic and healing journey as the insights were revealed within the Celestine prophecy. So thank you.
I love that.
Yeah, I also love it that you brought up the books. When I spoke, of course, when I said so many different things, that included books, the books that we have read from the time we were in kindergarten or pre-K, as you might call it, up to university. And the books that we have read for our formal education and also the books that we have read from our informal education, they all inform the way we behave, the way we look at the world, and how we see the world. I love the philosophical thought, for example, and I am a student of practical philosophy, and what we do there is we take the teachings from all the people that have stood out from time immemorial. It could be Muhammad, it could be Jesus Christ, it could be some of the people from the Eastern philosophies. We just pick this one and that one, and from there we take the wisdom from them. So reading books, I also read books on philosophy, but also just some. There's a book I read by a guy called Elliot Dana. He owns a school called the European School of Economics, and it's called The School for Gods. And in that book, he kind of tells you that you are a god on yourself. And by that message, he's trying to say that you can create the world that you want, and also that you have to believe what is within yourself and not outside. You are the one that can make the change, and you have the ability to create the world that you want. That it's in fact, he says the world is as you dream it, and that we are all dreamers. So as you dream the world, that world becomes your reality.
Very well said. Thank you.
I love how that goes back to Caroline's earlier mention about stepping into that place of peace.
Coming full circle, definitely. I'll share a few things. There are many people who have influenced me, starting with my parents. But when I think about the television platform, before I even had any concept of radio or television, I was always just so impressed and influenced by Oprah. And she is so big as life, her mission, her vision, her heart. And I remember way back, I want to say the 80s or 90s, there was a lot of focus on her weight. And of course that still continues, but she was in Philadelphia and she was in the health club that I belonged to, the sporting club. And she was actually on a Stairmaster 2 away from me. And she had her bodyguards there and she didn't have her makeup on. And she was there sweating just like I was. She was just a regular person. And I thought, what she has to go through every single day to get up on that stage with everybody judging her. And yet she's always about the other person, a car for this person and that person. And let's hear people's stories and let's get down to the crux of what people are really thinking. That she really has always loved the average person on the street, so to speak. And I just really admire her for that. So when I got into this, I thought one day I'd like to be like her and give everybody a car, help everybody in the world that I could. So from that perspective, it would definitely be Oprah. And I'd like to say my health has been an influence to me. So I was diagnosed 35 years ago with ulcerative colitis, which I think we know and are bored of at this point. But having that diagnosis really inspired me to take risks. And I definitely am a risk taker. I don't sit and dwell and think about, even though I'm very analytic, I don't worry about every detail. Where's this dime coming from? How am I going to, I'm going to figure it all out. And I usually do. I might cause myself stress along the way, but I said to myself, we're here for a very short time. I'm going to put myself out there. I'm going to take some risks. I'm going to do things that maybe I wouldn't do if I didn't have the diagnosis. this, but I'm here to influence other people. And so I think the last thing would be the Crohn's Colitis Foundation, where they've given me a platform to have a voice to help other people. And when people can come forward and share their stories and they realize they're not alone, they're not a disease, they're not damaged, they're a human being living a human existence, and that's always filled with challenges. So I think that's what I would say.
Woohoo! Wow. You know, that made me think about, you know, sort of circumstances and events. And if you would like, would mind me sharing, I felt that the crash of 2008 was very dramatic for me, because I'd just bought my first property and the property market crashed. So I bought at the very highest price that I possibly could. And then within a month it crashed and I lost a lot of money, an awful lot of money, all my investments apart from my home. And what I did was I thought, right then, next time the crash happens, because there will be, because that's what happens, we're in cycles, I'm going to make sure that I'm mortgage free. I'm going to make sure that I look after my investments, and I'm going to make sure I invest and I have somebody that's looking after me properly. And you know what? I've done all of those things. And I did sell at when the market was coming down, and that was just, you know, sort of one of those things. But I bought the best that I could. But the fact that the guy that's looking after my pension has really, really made it work. And I did land up being mortgage free in this, because I feel that we are in, you know, an economic decline in terms of things that are going on economically in the world, and our money, and you know, all the high rises of costs, and you know, and I feel that even though it's not brilliant, I'm in a much better place now than I was last time.
Congratulations. That's excellent, Caroline. Thank you. Mariska, you look like you wanted to say something.
Dr. Jacalyn, as you were talking about who influenced you and all the elements that influenced you, it brought to mind to me that the different environments in which you found yourself set you up for success within this space. Being able to tell your story and seeing the impact it has on others, wanting to do that even more. Looking at Oprah from what she did and going, you know what, I can go very small and just have a wee little podcast somewhere in an obscure site. Or I can do USA Global TV and Radio and just go out there and be fabulous. And that's what you did, taking those risks. And you are an influence and inspiration to me personally.
Oh, thank you.
Because I know that we met before all of this. Before
we did.
We had USA Global TV and Radio, and it was a glimmer in your eye at that stage. And to see you have come this far it's wonderful. It is really inspirational.
Thank you. And that's so sweet. You're making me cry. Something I just wanted to add, which I'd love to get your feedback, and then Dr. Justina, hear from you. I'm now teaching fitness classes, and I teach, I think on average, now maybe 7 a week. I'm certified in TRX, in yoga, and in spinning. And somebody said to me recently, she said, how much longer do you think you can do this? And I said, what do you mean? She said, well, at your age, I mean, how long can you teach? I looked at her like, I thought, what is she, like, is she a crazy person? So I think I talked to you about it, Caroline. And as a takeaway from that, yesterday I received an SOS asking if I could sub for someone. And this person is, she's the manager of all the spin instructors. She's amazing. And her class is always full. And she's less than half, I'm twice her age plus, and she's like a performer in Vegas. She's not on the bike the whole time. She's down twerking and dancing, and she knows every word to all these songs, music I've never heard of before. And I thought to myself, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if it's a 60-year-old woman can come in and teach for a 28-year-old woman. The people in their 20s, they're all going to be disappointed. So anyway, on and on, I decided to go. I wanted to help her out. And I got there and I said hello to the people. And then I got on the bike, they got on their bikes, and I explained to them that I was more than double most of their ages. And I hope they would be able to keep up with me. And so we had the class for an hour. And afterwards, this woman came up and she said, you know, I'm from New York. I'm a Soul Cycle advocate, which Soul Cycle is huge here. It's like the go-to for spinning. And she said, when I walked in and I saw you, I thought, oh, this is not going to be good. This is not what I came here for. And she said, I judged you. And she said, I'm really sorry. She said, because you are a beast. And so that to me meant that I was judging myself, thinking that I couldn't do it. Other people were judging me, thinking that I couldn't do it. And yet I did it. And so I'd like to leave that as a thought for all of us, that sometimes we think so poorly of ourselves that we already have what it takes to do it. And we start questioning ourselves. And what do you think we're putting out to the world? Hey, I don't know if I can do it. What do you think people are going to say? I don't know if she can do it. And then you go in and you do it anyway. And so I just wanted to share that because that just happened yesterday.
Woohoo! You sucked it to them. I love it.
It's really challenging, by the way, because you're up there, you're spinning, right, for an hour, and then we're using arm weights, and you have to perform, and you're talking, and we're using upper body, choreo, and you have to inspire others the whole time. So it really, you have to be at the top of your game. You can't have any second guesses or doubting yourself while you're doing it, because it'll come through. So I wish that for everybody to get on your spin bike, whatever that means for you, and to just shine your light and go and take on the world.
At any age.
That's right.
Yeah, we are talking about influence. Influence could be positive and negative. There is some negative influence sometimes, for example, that create, like Dr. Jacalyn, is something that might then instill or bring out limiting beliefs in yourself and thinking that I cannot do this. And then because of this negative influence, you don't even try to make an effort because you think that this is not my area. Just like I said initially for Caroline, that you could have thought, Dr. Jacalyn, that, you said you did, that when you looked at the girl and you thought, oh, she's so much younger and I am this, so she can do more than I can. But that is not true. They always, in fact, say that a new broom sweeps better, but an old broom knows all the corners. So there is some stuff that that as older people, we bring to the table that young people didn't even know exist. It doesn't matter in what line of life it is. It could be the teaching, it could be the dancing, like you said, or the exercise. I'm sure the lady that came to apologize to you saw a technique that you used that she might not have seen in the younger woman, and that she thinks, oh my God, so I can even, this is also doable. So it's those, we have to look at who's influencing us and how are they influencing us positively or negatively, and if we are just aware of that, then we know how to venture forth.
Excellent point. Do you know, I have heard that expression, a new broom sweeps clean, but I've never heard the second part. Tell us that again. An old broom.
The old one knows all the corners. All the corners of the house.
I love that. I've never heard that before.
Oh, really? Yeah. So it means that an old broom is thorough, because while a new broom can sweep, but they don't know where they, in life, like in life. So the younger people don't know where the real golden nuggets are. So you would bring them out from your experience, because with life, with influence, we build up all this experience. So it will be very difficult for a 25-year-old to say that they've had as much experience as, for example, a 50-year-old, just by virtue of the age difference in whatever line of life the person may be, because with age, experience goes up as you get older. So depending on your line of operation or your walk of life or your line of work, you'd have more experience than somebody who's just come out, graduated out of college or university. And you, even though, say if you're an economist, you've been an economist for 25 years and you've got this new brilliant top A-grade economist that has just come out of Harvard, they will be more, they'll be good at the techniques and the new things that come in, but you know the real issues that should turn an economy around. The graduate might be full of the theories because they are fresh in their mind and they can come up with all these jargon and talk about this and all of that. But when an experienced economist is presented with an issue, for example, a country that is going through terrible economic downturn or something, people have to go to the experienced one rather than the one that has just come out of Harvard.
That's an excellent example. Thank you. Thank you. I agree. Well, I want to talk about another subject in the time we have remaining, and that is social media influence in two ways. We're all on social media. I think, Mariska, you're on less per se than Dr. Justina. I would give you, you're at the top. I think I'm a little under you, then Caroline, then Mariska, in terms of posting and putting out content. So my question to you is, how influenced are you to make purchases based on what you see on social media? And that could be purchases where you're at, like, for example, this hair jewelry I bought after I saw on social media. I saw it over and over again. I bought products to help my hair grow. I bought that because I saw them on Instagram. So do you take action? And if so, how would you describe, based on what you see on Instagram, for example, from a post, will you take action to, as a consumer, purchase something, or to take action to do something, or to contact someone? How influenced are you by social media? Dr. Justina, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I am on social media a lot because I work with young people and I try just to speak their language, so to speak, so that they can be comfortable with me. But also, of course, I've been influenced by a lot of stuff from social media. Things that have have made me act on or purchase would be, for example, courses. I've seen some brilliant courses that have been advertised through social media from, in fact, some of them from some of the top institutions. Like I was talking about Harvard, they had advertised some free business courses, and so did Cambridge and Oxford and a lot of other top universities and education institutions. And also there are so many free courses, whether they can be academic and also about to do with personal development. And I'm big on personal development. I'm a lifelong learner. So I see these. Other purchases that I've made through social media are books, for example. I see all these books coming up, and what has been happening is a book would be posted and then there'll be like 10 lessons from this book. Then you read through that book and think, I think I'd want to purchase this book and understand it. And of course, there are other things. I've seen new hairstyles on social media. I've seen new kind of fashion on social media. Although I haven't gone directly to buy from that, but I've been influenced to think, should I see? Then I see something in the shop, and I thought, that is what I saw so and so wearing on Facebook. Then I'd go and buy that. So yes, we do get influenced by social media because social media presents to us what the world currently looks like, and also we just have to choose what is it that we think we can benefit from. And like I said, I'm big on courses, lifelong learning and personal development, and of course books. But then that doesn't take away some of the new things I hear, and of course some new music. I see all of that, and I just pick and choose, really. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And I love it because obviously people are getting our attention. Businesses are getting our attention. And for the same way, we don't think that people are watching, or maybe that many people aren't seeing our posts, but they are. not everybody is going to tell you. They're not going to comment or like.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised by how many people say, oh, I saw you were doing this. I'm thinking, how'd you know that? Oh, I put it on social media. But one thing that has been coming up for me as well, we do a number of programs about etiquette and manners. And so we have a number of etiquette coach, Philip Sykes. We have a number of people coming from the Train the Trainer program. And I see now that they're teaching people to walk with books on their head. So I'm going to be starting that. I'm actually going to take a book out and start walking around and see how I do. So there's so much out there that we can embrace or not. It can be a bad influence as well. Caroline, what are your thoughts?
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Yes, I was taught to walk with a book on my head from my mum, because she says I was slouching when I was a child. So yes, that's a very British thing, to walk very straight. So I really sympathise with you. For me, just like Dr. Justina, I'm a lifelong learner and always a student, and I've been a student for as long as I can think about it. After doing the academia, I've done a lot of other training, and I too have booked a lot of courses. Even there's a lot of one-day masterclasses and trainings that have been either very, very heavily discounted to virtually nothing or free. And maybe, sort of because my profile is studenty and studying, that I get a lot of that in my feed. And I've had some extraordinary challenges in terms of the things that I've overcome in doing those trainings. And that's how I landed up doing a few of the recent trainings that I've done in the last 2 years. And that's how I came across the suicide and self-harm training, which I really thoroughly, deeply enjoyed, and has given me a new qualification. So definitely training. And again, like Dr. Justina, music. Well, I feel that I'm not really up with the times, and then I see something on Instagram and it's somebody's doing a new dance, and Jerusalem, sort of made it really big all over social media. And I was really in the throes of dancing and singing along to one of the top songs, which if I hadn't have been on social media, I wouldn't have seen it, and I wouldn't have seen the dance or even tried to learn it. And I do get influenced a lot by dancing too. So I get a lot of adverts, sponsorship, and posts that are related to dancing, and a lot of jokes, because I like humor. And so it is a place for me to be enthused. It is a place for me to laugh. It is a place for me to evolve professionally and personally. And it's also a place for me to dream, and to connect with friends. And I feel that from social media's perspective, there are people that I wouldn't have connected with if it wasn't on social media. And I had a beautiful connection with one of my friends that I hadn't seen for a while. And we've both worked out that we're going to an event, and it's going to be celebrating my birthday. And so I feel social media is very integral for me in terms of being part of a much wider community.
Thank you, Caroline. Great points there. And I love the fact that we're getting training, we're getting personal, professional development from social media. That's terrific. Mariska, you have the last word on this topic.
I think for me, it is definitely underscoring the piece around the development. So I also get ideas around different courses that's out there and places of interest before diving deeper into those spaces, to go and have a bit more of a look. Because one of the things that I have found from social media is it gives you a little taster, literally. It gives you a spoonful of something yummy. And then if it is good enough and you really enjoy it, then, well, me personally, go and dive a bit deeper into it. Leave the social media piece and go into other spaces. So that is the way that I would say I utilize social media. And also because I am, as mentioned before, a lifelong learner, I really enjoy that type of content. So anything where I can increase my knowledge base and the things that I am interested in, that's the type of things that I would typically interact with. So that's the way that I would utilize social media. And as Dr. Jacalyn mentioned, no, I do not always comment on everybody's posts because it's going to take forever if I do that. And I also don't necessarily like everybody's posts because that will still take forever to do all of that. It is more of if I find it interesting enough, it might send me into a different area and look into the person more and find out a little bit more. It's great to have some of these free or low cost type of engagements where we can get to know somebody before actually going into a bigger training or a bigger piece of work that they have created. For me, it's really to understand a bit more around the way that they think and the way that they are bringing this content to life, and whether that works for the way that I think and the way that I interact with content. So with some of it, it might be exactly the same topic, but one person might present it in one way and another person in another way, and I resonate really well with the one and not necessarily as much with the other one, and that's fine too. So being able to discern where I want to spend my time, not only my money, is what I use social media for. How about you, Dr. Jacalyn? Because I know that you do a lot of not only posting and putting stuff out into the world, but I'm sure you interact with social media in different ways as well.
Thank you, Caroline.
Sorry, Dr. Jacalyn, can I just say something before that? I also find social media to be a stress reliever for me. Sometimes when I'm deep into very hard work and I've worked so much, for example, if I'm doing a big document and I've done so many pages and I want to take a break, I'll go to social media just to see some of the funny stuff that is there. And then it just kind of releases the stress from me and then gives me new energy and I go back into my work. So I use social media sometimes as a stress relief, and I look at sometimes things you might call useless, but it's just that it relieves the mind of all these pressures. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a great point as well. I mean, social media is there. It's there 24/7. And of course, if we're looking at it 24/7, we're not getting much done. But
Yes.
I like you am there. And the funny thing is that Instagram, I have the smallest number of followers, but I think I spend the most amount of time there because the way that it's structured, you can just scroll through. And something I want to just mention for all the entrepreneurs who are out there, because I think this is really important. I found that some of the purchases I've made, I've gone back and messaged the owner of the business. Hey, thank you. I love this hair jewelry. I know I read your story. You were a model. You gave it up and you hand make every piece in Hollywood by yourself. And no response. And get the newsletters, and I copied and pasted the same thing, no response. And the same thing with the hair for growing my hair. So I just want to say that no matter how big we get, let's not forget that there are people who help us get to where we are. And let's acknowledge if we don't have the time, let's hire someone to respond to the messages that people are sending. That's just, I think, good business. What do you think?
Mm-hmm. I quite agree with you. And at the same time, it can be, I call it an inbox. I now have an Instagram inbox. I have a Facebook inbox and a LinkedIn inbox, and it becomes quite onerous. And so I think that's probably what the reason is that you haven't had responses, because it can get so big and sometimes messages get lost in spam if they're not connected. I've certainly missed tons of messages that way. So it might not be, I'm sure it's not personal.
No, I don't take it personally. No, absolutely not.
I think it's just that inboxes get very big, and then you've also got your own email inboxes too.
It's very true. It's very true. Well, we are out of time and it's gone by so fast. I want to take a few minutes for each of you to talk to our audience. Remember, we've got Roku now. They don't know who we are. They haven't seen this show. Tell people what it is that you do and the value they can have by partnering with you, by hiring you? How can they reach you? So who are you? What value do you bring? How can they reach you? Let's start with Dr. MUTALE.
I am an international keynote speaker, so if they want to hire me to go and speak, I can do that. And I travel all over the world. Currently, I'm in Poland, and I am chairing a panel on influential women leaders of the world. I am also an author, and I teach also based on my book, Mastering the Art of Iconic Leadership. It teaches you the the traits that you need to have to be an effective leader, especially in the 21st century, and of course in the digital age that we are in. I run an NGO and equip women with leadership skills. So that ties in with my speaking and also with my book and also with the training. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I can't believe I had an opportunity to meet Dr. MUTALE in Philadelphia, and I got COVID. I went the entire time with COVID, no COVID, COVID over, COVID can't make it. It's so frustrating. So hopefully we will have another opportunity to meet in person.
Yes.
All right, let's go on to Caroline.
I will be in Philadelphia, not next week, the week after, because I'm coming to New York for the United Nations Women's Meeting. And after that, I'm coming to Philadelphia.
I'm going to get in touch with you, see what we can do. All right. Thank you. Caroline?
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. Well, I'm known as the Harley Street stress expert, and I help people bust their stress. So whether you're suffering physically, so physical aches and pains like neck pain, back pain, throat problems, infections, or if you're feeling very stressed, anxiety, depression, if you're having emotional issues like sadness, loneliness, or grieving, or if you're having a relationship or intimacy issue with your partner, whatever it is that you're walking around with that you're complaining about. And if you walk around and say, I'm not stressed, but you're telling people that you didn't sleep last night, or you've got that mad headache that's come back, or you're suffering with migraine, or you're complaining about that relationship, that is your stress. So many people say they're not stressed, but that's how it's coming up. It's whatever they're complaining about. I help you break through the patterns that create your stress by using root cause therapy and chakra psychology. I'm trained in many modalities, and essentially I use whatever is required to break down and reach the pattern and actually break the blueprint, identify the blueprint that creates your stress and that releases the emotion that's attached to the first presenting time. And I help people all over the world because I work online and in person, audio, video. If you're very shy, audio. You can reach me on nomorestress at live.co.uk or call if you're international +44. If you're local, 07523 120 189. You can also follow me on social media, on Facebook and LinkedIn on my preferred platforms. And I look forward to busting your stress.
Thank you, Caroline. And I can personally say Caroline is excellent at what she does. She helped me through many dark times when my mom was sick. So thank you, Caroline. Mariska, what say you, my dear?
Well, if you are within the leadership space or thinking about going into leadership and you are a specialist, that is where I can help you, as I help people going from a specialization or even within the leadership space moving up to bring a little bit more humanness into the space and help you to interact and communicate better with those around you. So if you need to bring in some of those soft skills that you're not too sure how to do that, you can get hold of me and we can work on that together. So you can get hold of me literally via my email, which is mariska@journey2discover.com, or alternatively, you can connect with me via LinkedIn. I know on most social media platforms, you will most probably not find me. LinkedIn, you will though. So connect with me on LinkedIn, write me a little message, and I will come back to you. As per Dr. Jacalyn's earlier comment, I actually do write back. So that is where you can find me.
Thank you so much, Mariska. And Mariska also is excellent what she does. We have 3 women here who are powerful. They are role models. Please do reach out to them. That's why they're here. They want to help anyone in any way that they can. So we're going to sign off for now. I look forward to seeing each of you next week. Please go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is USA Global TV and Radio. And as I mentioned, in addition to everywhere else, you can now find us on Roku under USA Global TV and Radio. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Good night.
Hello, I'm children's author Diane Floyd-Bain, and I am co-host for several of the USA Global TV and radio shows. I joined because of the purpose of the USA Global TV and Radio. They provide content for the viewers and listeners, an opportunity for people around the world to have their own show or even be a guest on an existing show. We truly believe in helping others get their positive message out to the world. We also have the opportunity for the listeners. You can watch on several platforms, and on YouTube, you can ask questions and even give a comment. We absolutely love it. I love being part of the USA Global TV and Radio because I love positive messages, and who doesn't? And we need more of that in the world. We are a family, and we hope you will join us and become part of the family too.
This program is brought to you in part by the British School of Excellence and founder, Mr. Philip Sykes. Building confidence, changing lives. Do you share our view that etiquette is a set of modern life skills that are essential for personal and professional success? Join us as an etiquette coach and change people's lives through the power of etiquette and manners.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I found I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
These few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school, this class is the best, this is the best school ever.
You should take it. It's just, it will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, PSD.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you to our clients for their testimonials on the Train the Trainer program. Our exponential and global growth is so significant that we've evolved from the British School of Etiquette to the British School of Excellence, where we're investors in people. Let us invest in you and your career. Contact us to become an etiquette coach. Go to thebritishschoolofexcellence.com. Start your career and elevate your success today.